The right art is purposeless, aimless. The more obstinately you try to learn how to shoot the arrow for the sake of hitting the goal, the less you will succeed in the one and the further the other will recede. The archer ceases to be conscious of himself as the one who is engaged in hitting the bull's eye, and the mind becomes completely empty and void. To have no technique is to have all techniques. You must lose yourself in order to find yourself. He who, aiming at his own glory, aims at glory. To hope to meet with a profound mind in the street is as foolish as to expect to find a pearl in the rubbish. The target is forgotten. Arrows are forgotten. I become empty and full at once, and thus I attain my aim. One can only hit the bull's eye when one is oneself, when one is free from all methods. Do not think of what you have to do. Don't consider how to carry it out. The shot will only go smoothly when it takes the archer himself by surprise. The art of archery is not a sport. It is a discipline in spiritual growth. One should not fix one's eyes on the goal. The path leads beyond the goal. Archery is not practiced solely for hitting the target. The arrow is used here merely as a means to achieve mental and spiritual discipline. To let the bowstring slip from the fingers, to cut the bowstring through at the moment of loosing the arrow, means to be empty of intention. In hitting the bull's eye, you simply affirm and express yourself. You are the arrow. The archer ceases to be conscious of himself as the one who is engaged in hitting the bull's eye. The archer ceases to be conscious of himself as the one who is engaged in hitting the bull's eye, and the bow and arrow and the target all form one perfectly harmonious unit. There is no hitting the bull's eye without having first gone through the whole infinitely complex mechanism of the shot. You can shoot only when the shot itself becomes the target. The art of archery is not learned in a day, but is pursued throughout a whole lifetime. The way of the bow is a lifelong affair. The bull's eye is just something to aim at. Hit or miss, the real goal is self-improvement. In archery, the closer you get to the bull's eye, the more you should forget about it. The archer must aim at himself, and yet he must aim at the universe at the same time. The only thing that counts is to make the shot in such a way that it becomes impossible to do otherwise. The art of archery aims at something beyond the physical, and that is what gives it its own peculiar value. The pupil must free himself from his teacher in order to attain self-realization. Every true artist has been inspired more by the beauty of lines and color and the relationships between them than by the concrete subject of the picture. To study Buddhism is to study ourselves. To study ourselves is to forget ourselves. The archer, however, becomes one with the target and is thereby freed from all tension. The archer ceases to be conscious of himself as the one who is engaged in hitting the bull's eye, and therefore he becomes one with the target.